In today's video, I'm probably carrying out many Formula 1 fans' biggest wishes, and I'm transferring Sebastian Vettel back to Ferrari. Yeah, we're going to try and see if Sebastian Vettel can rekindle some former glory and some old form when he first joined the Ferrari team or, was back at Red Bull by putting him in one of his old teams. We could have gone with Red Bull, but I feel like Formula 1 fans have a strong affiliation and love of when Vettel was in the scarlet red of the Scuderia. As always with these transfer mod experiments, we have to start after the first round. That's the first point we can make the transfer to a new team. So Vettel started the season off in Aston Martin with a 19th place. It can surely only go up from here. But before we dive into Vettel's second Ferrari stint, we've got a message from our sponsor today. Yep, today's video is sponsored by Asphalt 9 Legends. You guys might be familiar with this game. I've actually even played it myself on this channel. Oh my goodness me, Jesus. What? That was insane. He just stole my Nitros, but we've just taken him out. Yes. It's a free to download arcade racer on the Xbox, PC, Nintendo Switch, and mobile, which means you can truly play it anywhere, whether on the go or at home. So literally, if you're going to work, school, coming back, or you're just chilling on the weekend, anywhere. It's a high-octane, action-packed racing game with up to 181 cars available as of now, as the latest update, including major brands like Ferrari, Porsche, Lamborghini, and much more. You can play through a progression in a career mode and build up your car collection, or you can also play online in the new The Clash mode that pits two clubs against each other in a frenzied competition for glory and rewards, or just a general multiplayer with your mates. And today you can simply scan the QR code on screen or follow the links down below in the description or the top comment to get started, download it for free, and get playing. And get playing is exactly what Sebastian Vettel is now doing at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the start of his second Ferrari stint. Lights out, and away we go. It was a 1-2 front row lockout for Ferrari, and Vettel into turn one in his first race back for the team versus his old teammate. Absolutely went for it at turn one with a kamikaze dive, banging tyres at the apex, but Leclerc will get the better measure of him, and we saw that plenty of times in his last seasons in 2019 and 2020 for Ferrari. Leclerc clearly had the upper hand, and here it is going to remain true, but it's great to see Vettel being reinvigorated straight away, able to get at least that second place to lock down the 1-2 for Ferrari, be the rear gunner minimum. That's the minimum job you have to do, at least if you want to try and challenge a very strong Red Bull team of Verstappen and Sergio Perez. And onto lap 2, it's actually heaven on earth for the Ferrari team, because both Red Bull cars come in for damage on the first lap, so it's going to be an absolute smash and grab domination from Ferrari in this second race of the season, but the first race of this old new partnership of Leclerc and Vettel. Leclerc goes on to take victory at Jeddah, but I must say it is still awesome just to see Vettel back in red on one of the steps of the podium alongside Leclerc, even, because it was quite a good vibe, even though maybe the two had, the differences on track. I think off track they're always quite friendly with each other. Vettel a bit of a mentor maybe for Leclerc, coming in to the sport only his second and third year in Formula 1, was it, when he was at Ferrari at the time. But that is kind of where it all kind of ends in terms of that sentimental value, because you can't really change the fact that clearly Sebastian Vettel, in terms of his out-and-out speed and talent, has dropped a little bit, even though there are glimmers and flashes of it right now in the current season with Aston Martin. In the game, it is hard to get away with. So it was a strong start with second place at Jeddah, but then immediately at Australia, it fell down to 5th place, and Imola a 4th place. But I spoke about those glimmers that we've seen sometimes with Vettel, even now currently in the 2022 season IRL. And in this season, we got a little glimmer. Vettel on the front row, out-qualified Leclerc at Miami, and into turn 1, gets first place ahead of Verstappen. A nice move down the inside, just got better traction off the line, and going on to the second lap, will still lead despite that Red Bull car being very quick in a straight line, and he will set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It's great to see Vettel leading a race in a Ferrari again, but sadly it was only short-lived, because by the end of the race, Vettel dropped down to third. Max Verstappen won it ahead of Lewis Hamilton in second. And Ferrari themselves, kind of like real life, start to fall away a little bit in terms of development. Red Bull pulling away, and Mercedes actually end up overtaking them on the R&D chart. There was still some success for Vettel's teammate Leclerc at his home race. For once, doesn't DNF and actually won the Monaco Grand Prix. But things were still very much the same for Sebastian Vettel, not able to really light that spark. And as Ferrari continue to struggle to keep up with Red Bull and Mercedes' upgrading pace, Vettel slumped to just settling for a lot of 6th and 7th places, the 1/4 odd place at the Canadian Grand Prix, a place where he loves to go, but it was not really the return you'd be hoping for. And this meant at this stage of the championship, after the Hungarian Grand Prix, going into the summer break, Vettel is 6th place behind both Red Bulls, both Mercs, and his teammate Leclerc. At the Belgian Grand Prix, I wanted to give a look in to see what he could do, because he's had some great moments around Spa. Of course, the infamous "here comes Sebastian Vettel" down the Kemmel straight into turn 1, has a go at Sergio Perez. At this point, Leclerc is actually P1 ahead of Verstappen, doing quite well to drag that Ferrari up and still use what tools he's got available to try and come back at Verstappen in the championship. But Vettel clearly struggling a bit more at trying to pull that car up a bit higher than it really should be. Upgrades did come for Ferrari eventually later on into the season. But that pattern we definitely saw in 2020 and at the end of 2019, where Leclerc was able to comfortably, consistently beat him in qualifying, in races, was starting to show again. Whether that's because it's still the same old Ferrari environment, or whether him as a driver now just can't find that old form ever again, who knows? It is obviously just a game, so take everything with a pinch of salt. And then Formula 1 fans are treated to the same pain we've already experienced IRL. Sebastian Vettel announces he's going to be retiring at the end of the season. Even in this virtual season where we put him back to Ferrari, he thinks it's time to hang up the boots. And you can kind of see why. Although he's back in a top team, he's still not able to achieve the former glory. After initially getting on the second step of the podium in his first race back for the team, a podium was very elusive for him for the rest of the season. Just getting multiple P5s or P7s in that kind of region and struggling to re-find that form. And of course, a race win nowhere near him. So we come here now to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Sebastian Vettel's final race in Formula 1. But it's not for Aston Martin, it's driving for Ferrari on the second row as we go to 5 red lights and we're underway. Can this be a final good farewell song for Sebastian Vettel? Leclerc leads the way ahead of Verstappen. Verstappen is leading the championship by a decent margin. There is a chance Leclerc could win this, so let's see if anything crazy happens in the race. But we're focused, of course, on Vettel. And on lap 4 of 15 of this shortened race for this final race, just to show you everything that happened in this race, Lewis Hamilton came knocking on the door. It's the 7-time world champion versus the 4-time champ. The two banging tyres through the chicane. Vettel trying his best to maintain the 3rd place, but Mercedes have been upgrading in this season, and they're very much level pegging with Ferrari. Perez gets involved, and it's going to be 3 wide into that long new left-hander, and Vettel might get overtaken by not 1, but 2 cars. He does get overtaken by Hamilton. Perez on the inside. It's a really stonking effort from Checo. Very aggressive. Vettel comes back with the defense, trying to at least maintain a top 4 sure he is going to keep ahead of Sergio Perez, but for how much longer, unfortunately, it just looks like maybe his mind has already switched off in this virtual career season to retirement, to enjoy time with his wife and kids and enjoy a world outside of Formula 1. But he's still trying his best to defend, but Perez is just a bit too quick there, gets down to P5. And Fernando Alonso lurking quite close behind, and by the end of the race, Alonso will actually get ahead of him in the Alpine. And so on the final lap of his F1 career here in this experiment of ours, moving him back to Ferrari, he's going to finish in a modest P6. So, you know, not every single one of these transfer experiment videos is going to be a nice fairy tale story. It is going to sometimes be a reality check of maybe, you know, the thing that F1 fans are wishing for. It may not go the exact way you want it to, because there are realities of Vettel's form not being there. Clearly, he's still got the talent because, you know, form is temporary, class is permanent, and it shows right now in the IRL season. Vettel's showing glimpses of that class and speed and aggression and, you know, clever driving and hunger. But the form just isn't quite there. In this experiment, he finishes up in P6 in the championship, just shy of 200 points to his name. Verstappen wins it and will probably be blazing up with 420 points there. Leclerc, second place. So it wasn't exactly the fairy tale homecoming for Vettel here in Ferrari, but he still got a podium or two, I think it was, and, you know, definitely better results than he would have done staying the Aston Martin. But that's been this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button and let me know what scenario you want to see next of who I should transfer to an old team or new team, etc. Let me know in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.